Long ago, there was a world inhabited by animals with unique abilities. Resources were scarce, and civilizations warred for control of the land. In an attempt to end the bloodshed, the Animania League was born and the Space Arena was built, offering a battlefield where animals could use their unique skills to compete and claim victory over the others. To set up a game of Aniversus, you are going to have each coach construct a 60-card draw deck for their own team. You can freely arrange the deck however you want. However, there should be no more than 4 copies of the same card in each deck. Then you're going to lay out the field mats as such with the league dice nearby. These are the player's dice. There is the league die. Then we are going to have our skill card and 3 action cards in front, and 2 separate ones that you could possibly use later in the game, and your 4 dice as well. You are then going to shuffle your opponent's draw deck, place the decks face down, determine who goes first. We can roll a die. Whoever gets the highest number wins and gets to choose who goes first. The coach going first draws 7 cards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The other coach draws 8 cards, and that is your setup. All right, how do you play? You are going to do 4 steps in your turn. The first thing you're going to do, although you'll skip this in the first round, is you're going to draw 2 cards from the deck. You're then going to go into your action step where you are going to be doing a maximum of 3 card playing actions, unless you play another card that does give you more action cards. But the majority of the time, you're going to be doing 3 card playing actions. Those are play a player card, play a function card, play a training card, or move a player from the field. All right, so for your player cards, you have different types of players that you can have. In order to play a player to your front row, which is what you'll need to do to be able to score a goal, you need to spend productivity equal to the cost in the black circle, and then they're going to give you power that is depicted here. In order to do that, you need to have productivity. To do that, you place your players in this back row. To place them in the back row does not cost anything, and they're going to produce the amount of productivity in the white circle. So I can put Antonio right there, and I now have 2 productivity. When you do an action, you're just going to turn one of these horizontally to remind yourself that you have done that action. The other one is the players. So I have 2 productivity to spend, so I can spend 1 of it to put out Natalie, and right now I have a power of 1. I played a card, so we can turn that. Another card that you can have is a function card. It says so down here, and then over here will say if it's the next round or the current round. I still have 1 productivity left, so I can play this action up, and that gives me plus 2 actions in your next round. It's the next round, so you're going to place it horizontally between yours and the opponent's field. You can do it there. If you don't want the dice, you can always put it there. However you and your opponent want to do it. So that would be my 3 actions. I now go into the shooting step. If my power in my front row is 10 or higher, I can choose to shoot a goal. I spend 2 productivity. I then roll, or I then have the opponent has a chance to possibly play cards to reduce my power. If they don't, I roll the die, and I'm trying to get a certain number based on your faction. The squirrels want 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 12. I got an 8, so I would score a goal. If you successfully score a goal, your opponent can remove up to 2 cards from your row. If you are unsuccessful on your goal, you are going to have a number added to your goal numbers for the lowest number not on the card. So right now my lowest number is 2, so now I can also score on a 1. I will say you have these dice, and the purpose of these dice are to change things around. So in this instance, I can put it there to remind myself I can score on a 1. I will say that will get removed the next time I do score a goal. Or if the power level or anything changes on your cards in your front row, you will also use it there. And then after doing all that, you will discard down until you have 5 cards in hand. So that is how you'll do a turn. The game will end once someone has scored 2 goals. Alternatively, if a coach runs out of cards in their deck, whoever has the most goals at that point would win. Or if there's a tie, it's whoever runs out of cards first loses. Let me go really quick into a few more other card types and then the skills. So you have another type of function. This one costs 0 to cast, and this gives you +2 energy in this, or +2 productivity in this round. Here is another player. So before I played that, I could always have played this as the one action, but then I'd have the energy or the productivity going to waste. You have training cards. These go on your players either in the front row or the back row, and they do various things. Resilience is play Resilience 1 to a player to protect them from any negative effects from your opponent's cards. So they say you can play them on top. Some have abilities on here, so sometimes we end up kind of playing them underneath so you can make sure you can see the ability. Some of those negative effects could be like Antonio here is the opponent's productivity player, same position, becomes ineffective for as long as Antonio is on the field. When it talks about a position, you're going to basically look straight across. So Antonio would be affecting the player that would be in that productivity row. And that is the different types of cards. The other thing you have is you have your skill card. Not only does it give you your goal numbers, but there are skills on here that do not count as an action. So for the squirrel, in each round, squirrel can spend 2 productivity to view the top 4 cards in the opponent's draw deck and rearrange their order. Also, in each round, the squirrel can draw 1 extra card after playing 2 function cards. So, for instance, if I did not play Natalie, if with my 2 I decide I want to play that card and that card, that is 2 function cards, so then I would draw a card. And finally, squirrels can choose 1 round in the game to search 2 cards from the draw deck. You basically go through your draw deck, grab out 2 cards, shuffle your draw deck, and you can do that once per game. The cat's special ability is first they have goals in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. Their skills is for every cat player placed on the field that round, cat can draw 1 additional card. So every time it puts a player out, they can draw a card. And if cat has 4 or more forward players on the field, the goal number will also include 11 and 12. And then once per game, they can gain either an extra 2 attack strength or an extra 2 productivity. So that is the cat's ability. So again, you're going to be going back and forth, taking turns, playing cards out to your productivity, putting players out in the front row, trying to get to 10 or higher, rolling. The first 1 to 2 goals wins the game. Alright, so Aniversus, Chapter 1, Stars Awakening from NovBee Limited. I will say this is a prototype copy, although everything seems really cool and nice. Especially those dice. That was honestly the first thing that really caught my eye when I opened the box was they have those really cool marbled, kind of glittery, fun dice, which I wasn't expecting in a prototype copy. I was kind of figuring they'd just throw in any old dice. I was expecting just kind of basic standard dice, so this kind of shows a really cool attention to detail that they're throwing in these really cool looking fantastic dice. Alright, but yeah, that's my thoughts on those dice, because they are fantastic, and the bride really loved them. They, like I said, they're just very eye-catching. But the gameplay itself. Alright, so my thoughts on that. First off, I will say, I'll speak for the bride, because she is not here. She is not typically one who enjoys these kind of deck construction, strategy games, kind of the games that are in the vein of like Pokemon, the card game, Star Wars Limited, those, because she doesn't quite get the strategy and they kind of just overwhelm her. This one, however, really caught her attention and she picked it up well. There is a strategy in there, but it's not overwhelming where you have to really try and get these card synergies well. It really is kind of just about like the perfect placement and getting things a certain way. So I think that's what really drew her attention in. As for me, I enjoyed it as well. I like the fact that you have your basically productivity players, where those are the ones that give you a lot of productivity. So you really want to get those in, and then you have the ones that are made to score goals, and then you have in kind of the soccer parlance, I guess maybe your midfielders. I don't know. We've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso lately. Still haven't picked up soccer. But you have your ones who they can do some productivity. They can do some power. So kind of your little utility players is what I'll say. So you can put them either way. So it's that nice balance. The cards, all of the different functions, all of the different trainings, add that whole extra level of strategy. Like the one that gives you 2 extra turns. All right, well, make sure you have the cards and are set up to be able to do those 2 extra actions next turn. Otherwise, it's a wasted card. Using the one that gives you more productivity. All right, well, make sure you have the cards because that is one of your card plays. So if you actually do it as your 3rd card play, well, it went wasted. So maybe make sure you have that in hand when you go to do those 5 card actions. That way you have more productivity to spend. So there is still that kind of card synergy built in. And the fact that they are planning to do more decks and more cards, so you will have more freedom with that deck construction where you're not limited to just these base ones. In fact, I'm sure you can probably buy 2 of the base game and just mix those cards in so you can really optimize. I want to go an action heavy strategy, or I want to go this level strategy. The one drawback with this is with most games like this is sometimes luck of the draw is if you're not getting those productivity players be able to get stuff out. It could feel a little dragging on, but they've kind of mitigated that with some of the powers, like the squirrels. One of their powers is once per game. You can search, grab 2 cards, and put them out. So if you aren't getting those productivity players at the beginning, use that power, get your productivity, bam, get everything going. Or if you are getting those productivity players, but you're not getting your strikers, go search for your strikers. Or if you have that one where, all right, I can do the 5 actions, well, I'm going to search for, grab the 2 cards I specifically need to do it. So the fact that they added those player powers helps mitigate that. The cat player, every time they play a cat into the field, they get to draw cards. That can help them really kind of get through their deck and get the cards they need quicker. So it is a good mitigation aspect there, so you're not just constricted into what you are drawing from your deck. I believe there's actually cards in there that let you grab cards out of there, grab cards out of your discard pile. So you're not always going to get stuck with, oh, I have to discard this card. All right, well, I'll have a card that I can grab it back with. Or abilities of getting, like I said, there's that 0 cost one that gives you a 2 productivity. So if you really are struggling with that productivity, you do have cards that can mitigate that as well. So to me, that was a really good and interesting design choice to implement in there to help counteract that normal, like, bad draws you get. Well, you have powers and cards that will help mitigate that. Artwork, we really enjoyed it. It's a cool little artwork. I like that they use the same style throughout the whole game and didn't decide to switch things up here and there. Just having all that stuff kind of cohesive throughout. And having those player boards, while not necessary, they are fantastic. Like, you could just imagine where the lanes are and the productivity in the front row, but being able to have that visual, actual solid board too. It's not just a fold-out piece of paper or something, a solid board to house everything. So to me, production quality, top-notch. We really enjoyed, as I said, the gameplay. The bride, who is not normally into these types of games, really enjoyed it. In fact, she wanted to play it again right after our first play and has been bugging me to constantly play it. So Aniversus is definitely a thumbs up for us, and we are interested to see how this campaign goes. I will include a link to that campaign down below. While you're down there, if you want to go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell for the channel so you can see more of these previews videos we do. All right, until next time, get out and score a goal!